Boaz Bismuth, member of the Israeli parliament in the Likud party. Boaz, thank you so much for being here, and I'm so glad you just heard that report from my colleague Balia Sladin talking about normalization, talking about what it could mean for Israel and what might be stopping it. Tell us more.
So, first of all, thank you for inviting me. But when I'm sitting here and watching and following the news, I have the impression that, that's what I hear, that deal concerning releasing our hostages, well, Israel is against. Normalization with Saudi Arabia, again, Israel is against. It's absurd, it's ridiculous. Let me tell you something about normalization with Saudi Arabia. On the contrary, I imagine, or I think, or I believe, and this is also logics and in pure common sense, that it's exactly the opposite of what media is telling us right now.
What is the plan for the day after?
Very good question the day after. I mean, I'll answer you because this is also has become like this main question in panels, I mean, about as if we don't have a plan for the day after, and therefore, I mean, this is a not only disgrace, I mean, this is a total failure. So let's talk about the plan. As long as Hamas is there, it's very difficult to speak openly or to point in your finger which country will help you or which group will do so. When Hamas will be out of Gaza or will not be ruling in Gaza anymore, then you will be able to speak of the day after. And another thing, to all those countries in the world that tell me, or all those, how would I say, all those experts that tells me, no, it has to work, etc. You know, before being a member of parliament, I used to be a journalist myself. I covered Iraq War #1, Iraq number 2, Kosovo, Afghanistan. I have Libya, civil war. Libya, I totally forgot. Let's speak, all of us. Libya, the day after. Iraq the day after, Afghanistan the day after. What a success story. Why? Because Taliban stayed, because those tribes in Libya stayed, and Iraq, all those militias. And therefore, one must understand, you clean Gaza from all those horrific elements, which are terrorist groups, and then, believe me, you will have a day after.
I think you're wrong. The truth, basically, is not that Hamas prevents a discussion the day after, but two people who Netanyahu fears more than Hamas, I think, are preventing it, and that is Smotrich and Ben-Gvir. Because for the day after is really, really simple. It's going to have to be some version of the Palestinian Authority. That's just all there is to it. There is nothing else. Not a man from the moon and not a woman from Mars. Okay? That's what it will be, and this government can't say those words. Moreover, if you talk to U.S. officials, they will tell you MBS in Saudi Arabia has reduced the price for normalization with Israel to almost nothing. It's the Americans who are asking them to ask for something for the Palestinians in order to have it look like a reasonable edifice. Saudi Arabia wants this normalization. They want it now because they want the defense pact, and they fear that if Trump comes back to power, the Democrats in the Senate will block it. So basically, Netanyahu and this government, because they can't give lip service to a Palestinian state, and they can't even say, yes, the PA will be restored in Gaza, is preventing a peace deal with Saudi Arabia.
Boaz, I get you to have the parting words.
Thank God we found the responsible for all the diseases and dysfunction in the Middle East, which is Benjamin Netanyahu, but we're used to it. Let's answer.
This is coming from the U.S. administration, by the way.
May I answer?
The answer
Did not disturb.
Benjamin Netanyahu
I'm waiting.
will be a leader.
Tell me when I can answer without it being disturbed.
Without those extremists that are preventing any kind, that represent the majority in these countries, leading by Benjamin Netanyahu.
You cannot find any Israeli that right now that will accept the Palestinian Authority to go into Gaza, and I'll tell you why. You mentioned before Jenin or the Palestinian Authority right now. What is happening over there? Aren't we going inside Jenin in order to clean it from terrorists? Can we trust them? Do you want me to talk about a survey that you had at the Palestinian Authority from Fatri Shkaki? 73% of them support 7th of October, although the consequences. Do you believe that after the 7th of October, I will trust them? You can trust them. I don't. And for the time being, I do think that what I say is much closer to the Israeli population than what you say. You speak as experts. We listen to experts for so many years. We saw exactly where we arrived.
Boaz, there's another point of view. And Please. If you talk to the Israeli security establishment...
Yeah, but it can be wrong, by the way.
The Israeli security establishment will probably tell you that the PA in the West Bank, for all the difficulties and all the imperfections, fundamentally is playing a positive role.
I listen to you, but I do know that after the 7th of October, I am now taking zero risks.
You're going to be left with a military occupation.
I will take no. Oh, I do not want to occupy. What I said before, the day after, when Hamas will not be there, believe me, you will find many that will want, on the contrary, to be there in rebuilding Gaza.
That's a fabulous,
right now, I think that you live.
Notion.
No, I think that right now you live in a certain dream. And I gave you an example. You spoke about America. So if you ask about American administration or the American plans, tell me.
Gentlemen?
Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya. Is it a success story the day after? Answer me.
Well, I do agree with you that Hamas needs to be eradicated from Gaza. On that point, we can agree.
This conversation is definitely going to continue. We appreciate your insights. We appreciate your... Definitely, we appreciate your passion. It is important. Thank you so much for being here in studio.